All right, guys, welcome to episode number 2 of the Cutting Room Floor. This is a series where I get a behind the scenes look of some of my favorite creators. Today we have on Joshua Martin, a Chicago based cinematographer and also the newest member of Moment, a filmmaking accessory company and online store. In this episode, we have a conversation about how Joshua developed his personal, naturalistic filmmaking style and also what it's like being a person of color in today's environment, but more specifically in the filmmaking space. So with that being said, enjoy episode number 2 of the Cutting Room Floor. Yeah, so if people don't know Joshua, he's would you call yourself a cinematographer, director?
Cinematographer mainly.
Yep,
that's cinematographer and content creator basically.
Yeah, and so about a year ago, I was trying to get a project off the ground, and at that point, I knew I didn't want to direct it and be the DP. So I was trying to find someone who I would trust to take over that DP role,
Yeah.
and Joshua was number one, and I reached out to him, and the project never got made, but.
Yeah, sad times.
Yeah, but I reached out to you, man, because I feel like you and me are weirdly I don't know if you'd agree, but in my opinion, weirdly similar on how we light and DP and our camera movements and everything.
I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
I would say you're better than me in some ways and in quite a bit of ways.
No, I think it's just parallels. Where do you think you get your style from?
Oh, that's a great question. So over the years, I've been really, diving into what does style even mean? How does it relate to myself? And camera movement is just such a one early on. I was heavily influenced by Terrence Malick, still am. Terrence Malick, how he wants wide close up angles, as well as just going handheld, with a lot of people nowadays do it more often, talk about it more often too.
Yeah.
So having more of a naturalistic approach to the camera and how that feels. And so what my projects mainly my personal projects, the ones that typically don't get paid for, obviously, I lean more heavily into that. The last project I did, Images of a Black Man, that was all tripod though. So that's actually a first film in a while that I haven't used a tripod since my first film that I used, that I won an award for, 125 pounds, and that was all on tripod. But I try to be fluid and see what will aid the story best to really dictate how the camera is being used.
Yeah, so I actually want to put a pin in that, and I want to circle back around to Images of Black Man. But for now, I just want to know, kind of, have you always been artistic like this?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Has it always been inside of you?
Yeah, it started way back in elementary. Really, my dad had his old Olympus point and shoot camera. I can't remember the name of it, but I started taking photos when I was in elementary, and then my mom's an artist, so she paints, she sculpts, she does sculpture and all that.
All
so
right.
she was super supportive, and my dad was supportive as well. So shout out to them, because they were just really the ones who kept pouring into me and continued to help me to pursue. My dad bought all the National Geographic magazines, so I could just look at the photography in there, the portraiture in there. So it's always been something that's been part of my life and my journey. I considered one other job, but it fell through. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so leading into that, so what are I'm curious, because we have such similar styles, but I want to know if we have similar goals with what we're creating. Where you think you're headed?
So right now I'm in a interesting, in the last 6 years has been very interesting with my career and the paths I've taken. So I've mainly been in university settings, from the university I attended, Andrews University, to University of Miami, and then Notre Dame. So that's all been part of that whole movement of cinematic university content, basically. But I've always had in the back of my head, and some of the projects I've done on the side have been documentary and pushing towards more feature-length documentaries, as well as narrative films as well. So that's what I'm pushing towards, because Joshua Martin Studios is very interesting, because I didn't realize what I did when I picked that name back in the day. But nowadays, studio just means like you create the content that you want to produce, and then people and clients will come to you because based on how you see, based on your vision and how you create content, they want to hire that aspect. Not so much a company hiring you to help push their agenda, their style.
Sure.
They're hiring you for your style. So that's what I'm kind of leaning into more of. I have a business partner, Cody. He handles all this, the strategy and gaining new clients. So it's been an interesting push to move towards really honing in what my style, what my vision is, and seeing how that fits with people who want to hire me for that particular look.
That's funny. I have a businessman. My Cody, his name is Zach. So that's crucial for me.
Oh,
I
it's
don't know
huge.
about
It's huge.
you.
No, it's absolutely huge.
I'd be starving if I didn't have a business end to my stuff.
Yeah, and that's like I don't think a lot of filmmakers. Well, I don't want to generalize a lot of things, but it is very important to have someone who is the other side of your brain, because like as creatives, we are so driven
100%.
by the image, right? We're driven by the project, the opportunity to create something.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, like we don't. For me, I should speak. I don't put the business side of it, the contract side of it, the building the bridge part of it, all those things to keep doing the things I want to do. So having the left brain and the right brain together as a team is this key.
Because for me, how do I explain it? For me, I'm almost in this weird spot where I've been putting a lot of effort into YouTube in my day-to-day job stuff, but if I'm honest, my long-term goal is narrative and features, and not like I did a narrative piece one time.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to be doing. Is that kind of what you're thinking too, or are you more focused on like super steady commercial work? And
that's a great question, because the more I think about it, the commercial work is going to pay the bills, or just like unique projects. It's necessary, right? It's a necessary thing to do, and I do like that type of work, working with bigger crews, bigger budgets. This past year, this current year, I was able to be hired for a doc, and that was a $15,000, $20,000 budget. So I'm kind of pushing more towards that. And I do see it's interesting because you had to look into the market and see where there's a need for that to get hired for those type of budget jobs. So being able to kind of hone into that is key. So during that time in between, that's when the commercial stuff or the kind of the smaller projects to kind of keep things going and the business going happens. But I do see myself moving more towards creating films that I want to see. I don't not necessarily like the route of Hollywood. I think nowadays there's such a huge platform to get your films into other festivals, get your films to online screening now with different platforms. So it's really just getting the grants, getting the funds that you need, and creating the story that you want to tell, and not necessarily needing a production company. You'll get my eyes on it, but like I don't want to give up that control necessarily, right? Because if the story is not fitting what they want to do with the marketing, that's all that political stuff you got to worry about,
Yeah. So that leads into what we put a pin in on earlier is I want to talk about images of a black man and kind of that whole area of filmmaking, and I'll just start with the reason I want to talk to you about it is because like for me that's kind of been something I've been really focusing on the past probably the past year or year and a half, is like how do I use my voice as someone who's not a person of color, and like because I've benefited so much from the culture through music videos and all these amazing artists I get to work with. Like how do I give back? So I kind of want to let you just take the mic and kind of what's your experience been as a creator and someone who is in the community, and what's on your mind with all that these days?
Sure. That's a great question. Touching on images of a black man. So my background, I guess my growing up has been, I've been given more opportunities than most in my case, based on my color of my skin, based on my background, based on my family. Grew up middle class, Christian middle class. So a lot of things were not as of a struggle as most people would live day to day with. Rich culture of African Americans who come together, young African Americans who come together to go to high school. So I had the privilege to be part of that. And so that gave me that balance of understanding the Black struggle, being Black, and also just picking a career that is less paid, because even though they supported all the students, it was mainly like, if you're going to be in music, if you're going to be a doctor, if you're going to be a teacher, you're going to, like, all those like necessary jobs for benefiting the world. Being an artist was kind of like looked down upon in a way, but really? Everybody appreciate, you take great photos and stuff, but like they didn't know how serious I was of making this a career, making it into a career. Yeah. But all that being said, until I got into like the real world, right? That's when my eyes start to open up to a lot of things. So the college I went to is known for being the most diverse, but it has a very ugly history about how they treated African Americans back in the early 60s, 50s. And so taking that and understanding how to carry that, because I don't want to necessarily carry a chip on my shoulder, but also understand that I do have a voice, and I have an interesting way to say what I need to say through the medium that I've chosen. So through photography, and then later on through video work. And so I've always been aware of certain things that can turn another cheek or change the idea of or perspective of someone. Because I'm personally not the one to be in the streets, but I do need to say something. So my protest, and I said this earlier, my protest is the art that I create. And then fast forwarding to, images of a Black man and everything that's been happening in our country for decades, for years, and then just really how it's all kind of bubbling up again over the couple of years. That was really trying to embody the pain and what it looks like if it was me who was losing a brother and losing a sister that's super close to me, and just have that painted as it is sad times that we're in, that this is still happening. And so there is I titled it Part 1 because there is a couple of the parts coming, but time and having a baby really kind of tie things up in a way. But that was, for me, that was the best way for me to speak and share. And even though I didn't say much, the visuals hopefully said enough.
Yep, I think so. What was the vibe and the mood on that set? Was it heavy, or was it still light, and you were able to kind of, because I feel like sometimes, not on this subject, but when I'm filming, more serious topics in my narrative stuff, the mood is still pretty light on set, and it's really when you hit, you say action, the mood changes. Was there any sense of heaviness when you were filming that?
It was more of it was heaviness when I started editing the film.
Yep.
Because now I'm just like sitting there looking at myself with these visuals, and the visuals I wanted to pick were quite striking in some cases. But on set, it was really literally just myself and a friend of mine who was the camera op, and she and I, we kept it kind of light. Made sure we got the shots, make sure the references that we were trying to hit were the ones that we wanted. I referenced a lot from a photographer, I forget his name right now, but he photographs portraits of a young Black man with his shirt off and just jeans, and he photographs the mother or the sister or the brother holding them as they're dead. So that was a lot of the imagery that I had in my mind. Again, with articles with like Michael Floyd, and then some other things. But when I got to the editing, that's when it really just hit me, because looking at myself and just seeing, like, I'm blessed, one, to be alive today, and so now with that blessing, I need to be able to push this forward and say, hey, this is what's really happening, this is what's serious. So that's when it got heavy for me.
Nice. So I think we're kind of hitting our time limit here. Is there anything you want to add? And last thing I've been asking everybody is, what are you watching right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. This, if you're someone who's like Cam and I, who use film and photography as a medium, and it's this medium is such an important tool to use nowadays, because so many eyes get to see it, so many use cases for it. So if you do feel like you need to say something, use this medium to do so. And I think that your voice, everyone's voice is important when it's fighting for the right thing. So that's all I want to say. And
yeah, 1000% agree.
And when I'm watching right now, I'm going to start picking up. It's funny, actually. I just watched Love and Monsters. Did you see that movie?
No, I haven't seen that. No.
It's actually a fun post-apocalyptic movie, and it's pretty fun. But in terms of TV shows, I'm going to start watching what's that chess show on TV on Netflix? Oh, I can't remember the title.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I can't remember the title at all either.
Let's put it.
It's the female chess player.
Yeah. That looks crazy. So I'm gonna start sitting down and try to watch that.
Sweet. And my pick, maybe you haven't seen it, is Jungle Land. Have you seen that yet?
Jungle Land?
Jungle Land.
No. Is that on HBO though?
It's on. It's kind of everywhere. It just came out. It's pretty expensive. It's like a $9 rental.
Oh, it's a rental. Okay.
Yeah, you got to get on like YouTube or Vudu or something like that. But yeah, that's highly recommended. Yep.
What genre is it?
It's drama. It's about bare knuckle boxing. It has Jax from Sons of Anarchy in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the main character from Unbroken, if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, I've seen Unbroken. Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's super good. It's kind of like it's almost like a love story, or shows a bond between two brothers, and it's just super good, super what I'm into. So yeah,
I'm gonna have to check it out.
All right. Well, thank you for being on episode 2, man.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here, bro.
Yep. All right. Later.